What's up, my dudes? Back at it again with another video. We gotta get this thing ironed, basically. We gotta get the pan on, but before we do that, we gotta cut this manifold. I really don't want to do it, but it's what we have. It's what we're gonna work with. I'm not gonna be able to TIG it. I have to MIG it. So hopefully it doesn't break or crack down the road, because we'll have to get a new one anyways, which I think we're gonna be looking for one, maybe a top mount. But for now, we're gonna have to get this thing cut. We're gonna get the flange cut off of it and turned so that we can buy ourselves a little bit more space with the downpipe, and have just a little bit more room for it, I guess. It's super tight right now, so honestly, I wouldn't even want to try and make a downpipe for it at the moment. So we're gonna get this flange cut off. We're gonna try and turn it, and it may look funky. We'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna have to MIG it anyways. So let me get this thing uncovered and we can take a look at what we have to do. All right, so as you can see by looking at the manifold, we're looking straight at the motor. The turbo is clocked like this, basically, and that gives us no room over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this flange here, hopefully. I'm gonna cut it and twist it like this, so that it's flat across the motor. And hopefully we have a little bit more room. That will take this from this angle that it's at to almost like this, which will give us more room for the downpipe. Hopefully we have room, because we're gonna have another mount up here to the traction bar. Hopefully we have enough room for that downpipe to go down through there. We also have to clock the turbo, and I have to find one more bolt for the compressor housing, because it is missing one. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this manifold off of here and get the turbo unbolted and start cutting, I guess, and we'll see what happens. Well, it's off. All right, so I'm looking at this manifold, right? And we need to get this straight like the flanges, basically. And honestly, I don't think we're gonna be able to do that, because first of all, the way the collector is set up, it runs straight into this hole, which is good. That's how it feeds. It's how it's supposed to feed. If we turn this flat instead of at the angle that it is now, the runners won't line up. The gate will be like the holes I'll have to fill like mad gap, I think. Also, you can see that this flange is basically resting on the runner, and if we were to turn it flat, it's going to push this, because of the angle that it is, up higher onto the runner, and it just physically will not work. So I don't know what Carlos is going to say. Carlos has spent a lot of money to get what we needed so far for the motor, so I don't think he's going to have the money to buy a manifold. So we may have to ditch this turbo for now and run the TO4E that we have under there, which I don't want to do, obviously, because the last video was we unveiled the turbo, and I don't want to run a shittier turbo. I want this thing to make some fucking jam. So I really do want to run this turbo, and I don't want to run the TO4E I have down there. But if we're gonna run this turbo, we need a different manifold. I love this manifold. This thing looks dope. This is actually a Rev 9 AC compatible manifold. It's just wrapped, and it's nice. But with that turbo, we're not gonna be able to make the downpipe tight enough, and yeah. So I mean, and also the fact that I can't even cut this. Just for the simple fact that unless I have a bandsaw or like a hacksaw, or not a hacksaw, but like fucking one of those electric saws, I can't get in here. I can't cut this edge right here. I'm not gonna be able to do that with my cutoff wheel. So I'm gonna try and talk Carlos into buying a manifold. We'll see what's happening. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna give him a call and let him know what's going on. And if we use this manifold, we have to use the TO4E. We can't use the good turbo. So, you know, it is what it is. I guess we'll see. Well, there's nothing for me to do else today. Can't move forward. So, yeah. Next time I pick up this camera, you'll see me. New day, another adventure. We got Carlos, Milo, and Jordan here. If y'all see them. We actually picked up this plate, and this is what I was saying before. I found a plate. It bolts to the manifold here, and it turns the flange 16 degrees like this way. So the turbine housing is more straight, so we can have a better downpipe angle. But we got this, so this bolts, the nuts are recessed, so it won't be in the way. Bolts to the manifold, and then we can make the downpipe and shit, and it won't be in the way and won't come in contact with a block or anything. We just got to put the pan on, figure out where we're gonna have the drain, and then we're gonna take this off the stand, bolt it to the transmission, and get this bitch in the car because we got shit to do. So I just mocked up the turbo to where about it would sit, and it looks like the drain is gonna be right here at the dipstick, right in between these two studs here. So once we're gonna clean the oil pan quick, drill it for the thing that we have, because we don't have a weld-on type. I actually bought a bolt-on type because I didn't have a welder at the time. So back when we were gonna do this, I bought this Mamba kit. It's a bolt-on fitting for the oil pan, M20 by 1.5 to 3/4 barb, and then the same Mamba 3/4 drain tube. I believe that's what this is. I'm gonna open it up real quick. But this will be cut to fit. Once we have the hole drilled, that'll bolt up. We'll Loctite it. It won't ever come off. We shouldn't have to worry about it leaking because it's got a rubber seal. So see, gives you length. We won't need all of it, but it gives you the length. So that's good. Alright, so I got the piece marked where we're gonna put the drain, and we come into a predicament because inside we have the baffling or so for the inside, this plate here, and there's a right where this thing would come, there's this like two different levels of metal, and because this has a rubber O-ring to seal it, I don't know how well that's gonna work. So I'm just gonna drill it. We're gonna open it up to be as big as this, and I'm probably just going to weld this to the front here and say fuck it, and I'll just TIG it, and it should work. So I don't see why I wouldn't. So I'm gonna drill this real quick, and we'll see what happens. Alright, I got the hole big enough that this screwed in, and now obviously it's a little loose, but I'm going to clean up some of the paint here, and then I'm honestly gonna take this on so it'll never come off again, but fuck it, let's do it. Forgot to show you guys, we got Carlos putting the bay back together. We went for the OE look with the firewall covering. Cleaned that up, left that on there. We just threw a decent coat of paint on the subframe. Doesn't really have to look too pretty, just look all black. It would be nice. We're gonna get the mounts in here, and it should be good to go in soon. So once we have the motor in and we get all the intake stuff ready for it, we can start mocking up intercooler piping, dump tube, all that extra shit. So I got it kind of screwed in or whatever, and I got it bolted on the back, and it's just hand snug, so it'll hold it in place. And yeah, I'm taking it, so let's see how this goes. Huh. That looked like shit. It's definitely a new animal. It looks alright. It doesn't look the greatest, obviously, but it's holding color, so I have good coverage with my gas. The only thing is that top portion I can't get to, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna pull off this. I'm gonna grind this down and just weld the backside, and make sure it's all covered. And yeah, all right, it is what it is. Yeah. So this looks all right. It's not perfect, but it looks all right. It's got good color. I wasn't able to get this like top 8th because of the spacing. Excuse me. But I was able to get it inside here. Now this doesn't look great either. And then I wasn't able to get the top 8th, which is the bottom technically. But I don't think this is gonna leak, so that's good. I don't think it's gonna leak, and if it does leak, we'll do something about it. So. Yeah, that's difficult. Yeah, what can I say? That's my first time doing it anyway, so it is what it is. I just gotta clean this thing out now, and we should be gold. Put it on the engine. All right, I got a quick coat of paint on the pan. I got it out here in front of the heater. It's drying up. I'm using my buddy's vacuum as a stand. Got some paint on it so it doesn't rust. I mean, it is what it is. It's gonna drain the oil from the turbo to the pan. That's all it needs to do. Carlos and Jordan got the new lower control arms on the car. They look pretty good. These new jaunts, eBay, but foggy. New bushings. Should feel really good. So, another step in the right direction. Into the fast direction. We're gonna put, once that pan dries in the next like 10-20 minutes, we're gonna put the gasket on the motor and put the oil pan on. From there, we're not gonna have the intake manifold on because we're still waiting on the gaskets, and we have to port match the throttle body to the intake manifold. We need to find an idler control valve. I think I have one. We also need a TPS. So this is not gonna be on right away. We're gonna put the motor in the car without the intake manifold. So we'll be all right there. Oh, also, this plate, the way that it bolts up, these bolts that it come with were too long for this back runner, back bolt. It was running into the runner, so I cut this short, and now it fits up in there perfect. It won't touch the runner or anything. Put some Loctite on it, shouldn't come off. We will use probably high temp RTV for that joint, and yeah, should be good. I hope this sets up real nice, because
This flange is actually, must be warped or something, but the one that we bought is flat. We could tell because when we put on it, we can do this because the flange is not correct, or not flat. So hopefully this gasket maker makes the gasket and it seals for us. It looks pretty good on the inside, so I'm gonna just wipe this, make it smooth, whatever. It's gonna seal up nice before we put the turbo on, so we're all good there. And we just gotta make sure that the bolts that we put into the turbo to hold this up are just short enough that they don't push into the flange, because as you can see, that's all the room we have. But that's good. I also got these previously, I think when I was going to do this build, or when I was going to do the B17, but I didn't need them. VTEC solenoid gasket. So I got the solenoid apart. I'm going to replace the upper and lower gasket, and it shouldn't leak. Now we are using the stock crank pulley for now, but I am going to try and get Carlos to get an ATI damper. I don't know exactly if we'll need it at the moment, but you know, it wouldn't hurt making this much power, or the power that we want to make. Alright, sweet. Basically, engine is dressed. It's ready to go in the car. I'm just waiting for Carlos to get here. We're going to bolt it up to the clutch, get the flywheel and the clutch on, bolt it up to the transmission, and then we're going to place this thing in the car. And then Carlos is going to head home. He's not really feeling that great, but I'm not sure what else I could do once it's in the car. We're still waiting on a few gaskets for the intake and the exhaust, intake manifold and the throttle body. We still have to port the intake manifold. Port match the intake manifold to the throttle body, and then put the turbo on, do the turbo drain, and yeah, from there we can start doing the downpipe and working on the intercooler piping. So also Carlos is painting the traction bar, so that should be done. It looks really good, by the way. Can't wait to show you all that. So once he gets here, we're gonna get this thing bolted to the trans and put it in the car. Okay, Carlos showed up. We got the throttle bearing on, we got everything cleaned up. Trans is ready to go. We're gonna pull the engine off of the stand over here, get the clutch and flywheel on it. And this clutch and flywheel will hold the little bit of power we're gonna make at the beginning. I don't think it's gonna hold the 400 that we're looking for at the end result, but we're gonna run it until it starts to slip. So We got the clutch. We're gonna get that onto the engine once we get the engine off the stand and get it together and get it ready to be put in the car. Alright, before we can put the motor in, we have to pull the traction bar off, which is this thing, and we are going to pull the suspension basically out, just the fork, the strut, and pull the upper control arm away. That way when we put the motor and trans in, we can put the axles in real quick. We have new lower control arms going in, and we have to pull this old shift linkage out, and we should be good. I have to find my old D-series shift linkage, and then that should work. It was a little bit sloppy, but it should be okay. Because we can't, honestly, I can't find any Hasport on eBay on anything for D-series shift linkage, which is kind of upsetting, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna get this apart real quick, and we'll catch back up when we're sliding the motor in. Alright, so we had to lower the car some because we couldn't get the engine high enough, so round 2. Alright, well, we got the motor in, semi-sorta. We got one bolt here holding it right now, and then one bolt in this mount. We're gonna get this rear T-bracket in, and we'll catch back up whenever it's in its place. Alright guys, we are mocking up shit, and we're looking at fitment, and we're running into issues again. So, we can see there's not much space here. EF issues, not much space, and with the turbo that we want to run on here, the exit for the exhaust is right here, and there's literally no room when this mount is in place to run the downpipe and get it underneath the car. If we were to not use the 4th mount, we could probably run a downpipe a lot easier, to be honest. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to be making some serious power, and D series cable trans and an EF don't have T-brackets. They have this plate. This plate, it doesn't triangulate as great, and I've stripped those bolts from just all motor stuff. That's why I repaired them. So if we don't have this 4th mount, the motors are going to torque. It's going to move. So we have to run this mount, and it just doesn't look like there's a lot of room for downpipe. So if we run this manifold, if we run this turbo, the GT3576R, if we run this turbo and manifold, we may have to do an up pipe. If we want to run this turbo manifold and not run an up pipe, we gotta get rid of the front mount. If we get rid of the front mount, the engine's gonna move more. So it's a trade-off. So we're still unsure what we're doing. We might pick up another manifold, but we're gonna be looking at this thing for the next few days or so, and really just like, it's so difficult. I don't know what to do. But Carlos is like, what the fuck do we do? I'm like, I don't know what to do. I would love to make a manifold, but I don't have the back perch kit, so I can't do that yet. So we're kind of at a standstill. Yeah, so we actually may get a different manifold. The hood is sitting on top of the manifold runner, bro. You can see, I don't know if you guys will be able to see because of the lighting, but this manifold runner is actually touching the hood, and this one as well. And we can't cut enough out because we'd be cutting into the hood then. So, as much as we don't want to, because it's more money spent and more time that we gotta wait, that's probably gonna be our best bet, is to buy a new manifold. And, you know, I mean, it is what it is. We're experimenting, we're trying different things, trying to make something work. I will be having this manifold for sale. And if we decide to use either one of these turbos, if we use this one, this turbo is going to be for sale. But if we end up using this turbo, I'm just going to keep the big one. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to try and find a different manifold for this car so that we can get this thing on the road and not have to worry about anything. So yeah, we're going to... Carlos don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. We spent so much money so far to get to this point, but...
Fuck it.
Yeah.
What makes it easier at this point is so fucking tight. This shit's not gonna fucking work. And I'm not cutting my hood off.
Yeah, facts. So we're looking at getting another manifold. We're not sure which one yet. We got a lot of research to do yet, and see if we can find. Go AutoWorks has a few. Meticulous has a few, but they're pretty expensive.
Oh.
From Colorado, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they're pretty expensive as well, so we'll see what's going on. But yeah, that's all for this one, guys. Check you out on the next one. Deuces.